We are playing FS, by the way. Just want to remind everyone, we are playing Farming Simulator right now. Hey everybody, Scroft here. Welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to our series on Kinlaig that I've called Tales of the Highlands. Now, you probably noticed, if you've got a keen eye, even though you probably don't need that much of a keen eye to see it, but there's a big shed in front of us. And that is our new beef stock shed. Now, I really like this shed. I think I picked a good one. I did go over quite a lot of cowshed mods on Mod Hub to find this. And yeah, I think it's like the perfect fit for our setup and the space we've got as well, because that was the difficulty before. So this fits quite well. I've tried to put it down the best I can, put in a gate here and everything. Story points that is there. Now, my only issue is, and it is bugging me, I can't lie, you've probably already seen it, but that lamppost, well, it's not a lamppost, what am I on about? It's a power line, and the post that comes with it. Now, it's built into the map, or the DLC map, and because it's locked behind Giant's kind of like DLC section, and some of they lock quite a few things, to be honest. I know they open up a lot for modders, but there is quite a bit that's locked in the base game as well, but this is locked, so I can't gain access to it, because normally what I would do is remove that. I'd probably remove this as well, because obviously the cable, or I'd just move it, because if I could move it to like this section, extend the cable out, which I could easily do in GE, then it would look pretty good. But yeah, that's the only issue I've got. I mean, it's not game breaking. It wasn't not worth placing it down. You can just see the cable kind of goes into the shed there. Now it moves a little bit because it's supposed to with the wind and everything, but I mean, I'm just seeing it like it connects to the shed and then that post there because, well, I don't know, it's a scratching post for the cows. So, you know, when they come up to it, they scratch away, and it's an old school one. That's the way I'm set. You know, that's the way I'm kind of thinking of it anyway. But the main point is, I got a cow shed finally. Spent a lot of money. We've progressed through from the last episode, which was December when we were selling, into March. A lot has gone on. I mean, a lot. I have actually been playing this and setting it up for about 5 hours. I'm faffing about mainly, just doing things and trying my best to get the update to work on the animal herding that's the mod by Arrow, which is awesome, by the way. And we've had some good stuff added, like this, which is a feed bucket, so now animals will follow you. And it does work. And I think it's best with like certain animals and certain pastures. What my idea is I actually placed in like all my vehicles and made a track or a boundary, let's say, like you would do with gates and hurdles, just on this section here. So in the centre, basically here, there was a path going from that cow shed to this one. Because what I wanted to do was herd all my beef stock into there. But I just couldn't do it. They were getting snagged and stuck. And it is a tight area in here. You can see like all the gates and fences. They were just getting stuck. But it is working, and you can herd these. And yeah, I think with like sheep, we'll do it. Now I've got it on the series, and it's working as well with the custom animal models that I'm running, which is the ones basically from the enhanced animal system mod. Yeah, it works now with that, and you've got a way that they'll follow you. I just think for sheep, maybe goats and cows in an open pasture, it works really well. I'd say anything that's an open pasture, going to another pasture, works well. It's when they're like cow sheds like that, that some weird shadow flashing then, wasn't it? What the hell was that? What was I saying? What was I saying? Yeah. Yeah, it works best with pastures, basically. Not cow sheds, because it snags up, and it is what it is. Now, obviously, it's important to just state, it's insane that Arrow's even made a mod like that, and it does work. You can move things around. There is a way to pick up animals now as well. Like if it's like a calf or a lamb, you can actually pick it up and take it into another pasture. Now, I haven't actually figured out how to do it. It's a strange one, but yeah, I've got no clue how to do that currently, just because there's no like my God, scared the living life out of me. I actually know what that is. The mod dropped not long on Mod Hub called Critters, and in that mod there's a load of sound effects. Now 75% of them are like not something I'd want to see in Scotland or on a UK map. So I kind of customized it and just scratched out a lot of them. But that one, a dog sound, the birds, things like that, I've kept in. So there's some extra ambient sound effects going on currently, and that's from the Critters mod. But I have moved out some of the frog sounds because you just wouldn't hear them in the UK, because I think it's, it all depends on the environment, doesn't it, and the setting. And I've personally never heard that. But train like that, I know there is a train line on the map, so I kept it in. I kept the dog sound, but that is what that is. Yeah, but there is a way to pick up animals. I've just not done it. So, in fact, let's just try it. Why not? Let's just start the herding. So Shift N, and you can see they start all bombing about the place. Now, these are all calves, so I should be able to pick this up, I guess. But I'm not seeing anything. I'm just trying to see if it's showing up for me there. But I'm not seeing a way to pick it up. Like, how old's that? 4 months old. Let's have a look for one that's a proper newborn. Like, they look really small. Because I think they have to be a certain... Yeah, certain... like, age. Like, this one's fine. You'd think this would be spot on, but I'm not seeing anything. What if we go into... What if we go into controls and see if it shows up for us on the mod? See if realistic livestock. Let's see if animal herding is somewhere. So the only thing I can see is the Shift N, which it's actually got no information for here. Again, this is an early version technically of this mod. But yeah, that's to start or activate the herding. So I don't know how it's to do it. Now, Arrow has sent me a picture of it in my Discord. So it is a thing. I promise you, it is a thing. You can see that I'm herding these cows. They do like to snag up on the fences, though. And when you want them to move left, because you're obviously trying to get them to do that, you have to kind of stand on the fences. So I found it just a little bit tricky. But you can see that we are doing it. And if I bring out the feed thing, there's no, like, button or sound effect of, like, you shaking a bag of feed or a bucket of feed. So I think you just get it out like I'm not pressing, like, the normal hand tool activation button. I'm just trying to see if they'll follow me, which they are doing. So you can see that it is bloody working. And I could lead them out. Now, this is the section. Oh, my God, I've got loads of cows following me. This is awesome. But, yeah, you can see that, like, when this is loads of big cows, it's a different kettle of fish, especially coming through here. And that there is the gate that opens. So that's where the problem lies. But you can see how crazy and amazing this is that it's working. And if we just slowly walk this way, a load of cows should follow me. Because I'm now the cow whisperer. with a load of feed. I mean, we are playing FS, by the way. Just want to remind everyone, we are playing Farming Simulator right now. So insane. It is cool. You can't deny it's cool. So yeah, me and these cows are now best friends. We're just going for a walk. But you can imagine, from it that, if you're using like an open pasture and stuff, it works brilliantly. But that's where we're at with it. So let's press Shift N. I have fed back a lot of stuff to Arrow, so that problem from before, when the cows will kind of like vanish into another pasture and stuff, when I stopped the herding, is no longer a problem. And he actually dropped this today, this update, and there was a problem with it straight away, and then I fed him the information straight away, and he fixed it as well. So by the time, you're watching this and downloading it, if you've not already got it, you should have some of the fixes that I've encountered. But yeah, massive shout out to Arrow, man. I love the work he's doing. It's just, it's only going to get better, so we'll keep a close eye on it. Let's go and talk about the shed find, because I get a lot of questions about people saying, like, what shed are you using? And everything I'm using, all the sheds that I've got on this save game, that one there, which is my old beef shed that's now actually called calf shed. This one's called main beef shed. And then we've got the dairy shed down there. They're all on Mod Hub. I promise you that. One that's my dairy one it's by MA7. I think it's called something like Old Stable Shed. This one is on Mod Hub. I forget the name. I will try and find it for you and put it into the video now. This one is basically just called Indoor UK Cow Shed. I'll show you in the construction menu so you can go and see it, because I do get a lot of questions like this. And yeah, pretty much like 90% of everything I use is on Mod Hub, if not sent to me by someone. But it's that one. So it's large UK indoor cow barn. If you just search that on Mod Hub, you'll get it. And that's, yeah, the shed I've got. It holds 150 cows, 75,000, UK themed. I mean, it pretty much ticked all the boxes. I like this centre feedway, this feed passageway. It's unique because when you feed, the feed goes down there and the cows obviously are lower down, so the head just fits through and that's where they feed from. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a few little issues with this I've seen. And they're only small, but they do, you know, add up, I guess. What I've found is the straw plane, when it's snowing, has like a snow texture to it, which is quite strange. And then the feed passageway with the nav mesh, you'll see a cow walking through occasionally through it or inside it. So they're the only issues. But I mean, apart from that, I really like this thing, and I think I've picked a good choice. So, yeah, well worth a download on Mod Hub. Go check it out if you want to kind of use the same stuff I've got. Now, round the side, it's now closed off. We've got the milk tank. If we'd use it, but we aren't. I think this is a good place to now stack bales, and we've got, you know, I've put this currently there, my spreader. And then round the back here, I was faffing about with a few things. I was putting down some of the igloos because I've been talking to Oz, and basically with the red tape mod, the spacing of the animals has been adjusted a bit more realistic because before it was quite strict. Let's say they needed a lot more space than what they do legally require in the UK. I think this is for the animals. Now, it's not as lenient as that because I think we've got to remember that we're playing a game. But I'll show you the numbers in a second when we go through the red tape mod. But yeah, it is more forgiving. So I tried to put some igloos down to test, but then I was just having... the igloos themselves that are on Mod Hub kind of confusing because they don't even hold enough feed to last 5 cows in a day with the realistic livestock mod. And I haven't increased. I went down to 100% because, you know, you can change the feed setting, the scale, sorry. So I was running normally, the whole of this series, I was running at 200%. But I went down to 100% to see if that would, you know, make it work out. But I mean, you could only put like 1,200, I think it was either 1,500 or 1,200 litres in a day. And 7 cows, beef stock, are going to consume pretty much that or close to that in a day. And there's a second one that holds 7. It's actually smaller than the one that holds 5, so it's another mod. Still an igloo, but it's another mod. And that only holds about 120 litres. It's insane. So I just thought there's no point in me doing that. God knows. God knows. I will give you a bit of an animal update, but very brief one this time. It's confusing what's happened, but basically I've renamed the sheds and I've now got my main beef shed. So there's no more calves except this one and this one and this one. We'll need to move them. They're obviously newborns, as you can see, that need to get shifted out. I'm putting all my calves in that calf shed now. That's, you know, dairy stock and beef stock. Yeah, the males in here for the Holstein, I'm either going to have to castrate or sell them before they get to an age where they want to reproduce, which is technically like, you know, like, because you got to remember, these can't reproduce anyway till the 18 months. And same for the Angus. So as long as there's no females in there at 18 months when these get to kind of like bulling age, let's say, then we shouldn't have an issue. But there's a lot of calves. You can see that I've been busy in the series, and that's good because we're lactating now a lot of milk, and we're now milking's, I think it's up to 1,000 litres a day of milk, which I'm very happy with. Very happy. Now, my dairy shed's doing well. I've got everything pretty much at the moment in calf. I will go to that one actually and give you a full update. Sheep are fine and happy. I've given them a load of grass, a load of feed, because the meadow, again, like I said, it's just not pumping out enough for me to sustain. Don't know why that is. I think it's going to mean that I'm going to have to make more hay bales and then take a few out to them and feed them when it gets low. But currently they're fine. I'm not worrying about breeding in there. They're just doing the thing. If we have to buy another ram in because it's like offspring and all that stuff, we can do. Not an issue at all. But I did have a couple of rams in there to start with. So if you've bred from one of the rams, you can then now breed from the other. That's the way I'm seeing it. And the beef shed is going well. Got to look at the ages of the beef though, because I know I'm going to have some young stock. I know I've got my original stock that kind of breeding out, which are these 30s and 20 months olds. So that's like this core up to, I'd say up to... So all the ones that are in my calf shed are the ones that I need to fatten up, don't I? Because we've got to come up with a plan for that. So all these here now are the ones I'm fattening up to then sell on as beef stock. That's the way I'm working it on that section. So let's just say we've had a look at that, because I'm already at, what, 17 minutes of recording, and, you know, got lots of updates to give you. So we'll get to that in a second as well. My fuel tank's now here. So it was over there, wasn't it? But I've put a new fuel tank in over there. It holds 1,000 litres at a time, so that'll keep me busy. Right, let's just run over to this section then and just show you what's going on. Now, feed-wise, I've gone down quite a bit, obviously, with me doing TMR mixes for the dairy stock now. No more grazing, because we need to produce the maximum amount of milk, be the most efficient. I've run out of hay, so I was actually doing a bit of straw in the TMR mix, which isn't ideal, but it still allows me to do a TMR mix, because I need at least 2 ingredients for that. So I'll put in mainly silage and about 20% straw. That's where I'm at, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to do hay. So I think I'm going to buy some hay in this episode, or in the next episode, because I've got some planting to do, but I'm going to do that in the next episode. But that's where I'm at with the feed stock. Muck has been a strange one. This, for example, I don't know what's going on with this, but it's telling me I've got, like, you can see 30,500 litres of muck. But then when I back up to this, it's not anywhere near that. And for a stage where the snow was on the ground, I had none. So I don't know if when I placed this, I messed up something, and the muck was going underneath and it wasn't detecting it. But it says that I've generated it, but for some reason I can't get to it, which might be an issue because of the red tape mod. It actually monitors the amount of manure we've got and what we're using. So I don't want to mess that up there. It's either going to be that I place down, you know, maybe like a silo extension or a silo to kind of spawn the muck too. Yeah, it's a weird one. In fact, we'll just quickly go over here, because this is even stranger. Like I said, I was faffing about for hours, and I've got so many things to update you with. And I want you to be up to date as I follow through with this, because I'm loving this series as an FS player. And I think that matters a lot, because if you're watching me play this game and I'm enjoying it, I'm hoping that means you'll enjoy it more as the viewer. But yeah, look at this. This is what I've got in here. I've got 28,000 litres of muck in here. And it's spawning in the shed, which I like the idea of, because I've now got to muck it out. That's what I'm thinking. But if we go to this one over here, this is my pasture. So let's just jump in here and show you. So the manure in here, 17,595. But this is not spawning anything from my calf shed. Again, I'm not sure. It's almost like the muck that's supposed to be in here, which is 17,500. Yeah, calf shed 17,500, and then beef shed 28,000. It's almost like my muck that's supposed to be in this section is getting maybe drawn into this as well. And that's why I'm having so much appear here. Because this has only been up since the start of January. So we're talking 2 months, and I've already generated like 28,000 litres. So I think both has been spawned into this shed. I think. To be honest, I ain't got a clue, but I think that anyway. Let's just quickly look at the dairy stock, and we can actually get some bloody farming done. Anyway, so my dry cows are no longer dry cows, except this one, which is still too young. So these two here actually failed insemination, but I have done it again. Talking about my AI setup, I've used all the straws that I had of the Holstein bull that we got. So I actually got 30 more of this brown Swiss bull. So we're doing some crossbreeding at the moment. And it's actually turned out really well, because it's a higher percentage. I've had less failures, and for like for milk production, it's a higher standard on the bull. So it's basically nitro is what we were using originally. So if you look at productivity, it's very high. But I've gone with this one for 77% success rate. Sorry, this one from 72 with nitro. And yeah, we've got a higher productivity. So we're going to do some cross between the brown Swiss and the Holstein. So hopefully these two here will be successful. I have marked them up still, because the way I'm doing it is I mark them up to if they're pregnant, or I've used AI to get them pregnant. So these all now are pregnant again. Like this one's on its second round of calves and stuff, which is good. This one's recovering from its last, so I can't do that one yet. This one's had AI. So if I go to this, you'll see that it's not an option. So that one, again, needed it, and I've used a straw on that one. Same with this one, and that one, and that one. And that one's recovering. And then all these are actually pregnant as well. This one here, which I've put as not pregnant, I have marked it up like I have because obviously we're doing a bit of a test here. And we know by its name that from November day 3 it started lactating, and it's still lactating into March. So, you know, by day 3 March, we're going to be 4 months in, knowing that the lactate. But this one, I actually got pregnant. I actually used AI. It's pregnant again, but it's still lactating. So what we want to know, one, the most important thing is how long do they lactate once they started? So once they've given birth to a calf and they're lactating, how long does that last? Whilst it's being put back into, you know, the cycle of being pregnant again, but also when it's not. I want to see if there's any difference between the two. I'm hoping there is no difference, and then we just learn how long they lactate. And as soon as it's ready to get in calf again, we get it back in calf, because it is always going to, I think the way it's designed by Arrow is it's going to have a dry period anyway. Even if that's like a month or two before it's due to have another calf, it'll go dry, so it'll stop lactating, and then it has a calf. So by the fact that we're not getting this one in calf, it's actually delaying it for us, because it means that then we've got to wait another 9 months. So I'm pretty certain the best way to do it is get it back in calf as soon as possible. That's my thought process. So, but we've been very busy on that account. You know, we've got a lot of calves. We're producing a lot of milk. Go to this, it'll tell you exactly, which says products. So dairy shed 1,000 litres a day, which is great news. We've actually got some milk to transport, and we're going to do that in a second. Now, I have mentioned this to Arrow. If you're watching, buddy, I know sometimes you do watch my videos, so if you're watching, this still got water, and I know one of them's straw. I actually think that's straw, and this one's water. So if you're playing the game and if you are using Realistic Livestock mod and it's water, I'm pretty certain this is straw, and I have told Arrow about that. I think he just needs to change it. Yeah, I'm sure that one's straw. It'd make more sense with it being straw than products, which is anything like, you know, for sheep, wool, goats, goat milk, and, you know, for milk for dairy stock and so on. And then you've got liquid and liquid manure. You can see that we're producing quite a bit. And we've gone back down to, 100% now. We'll keep it there for feed. Unless we just have a surplus of feed, then I'll just put it up so the cows consume more. So there's one more thing to explain, which is the red tape, because we've had a bit of an update on that. Nothing crazy. We'll get through it dead quick. But I just want to point out on my manure and slurry levels, 28,010 there. We've got 17 and 39, and then the dairy 30 and pretty much 30 again. So we've got a lot of stuff there to get through, and that's why in this episode we're going to be shifting more muck and slurry, which I really like the fact that we're doing more of now, because the mods like red tape mod is making it so it's something we need to keep on top of. Because I actually got, if you remember, 100-point minus on my score, and I'm glad that after talking with Arrow now, it's now a lot more understandable, explained, and I think that leads me into perfectly to go check out the red tape mod. So let's do that now. So I finally moved up to tier C. It's a lot more points, so we need to get to 750, but we're at the same point level. So I'm at 371, which is, I think it was like 280 or something, I think it was, or 320, I don't know, 350, I forget. But basically, I moved into tier level C. Now, you can see that the manure management, which we get a fine for every May and November, so, you know, we're in March, we're 2 months away from that fine, is now changed. Well, it's now giving us a lot more information. It's showing you that the report shows the amount of manure spread over the last 6 months. It also shows actual versus expected, which we already knew about. And he's put here, note that month 1 data shown will not be included in the next month's report, and any manure produced in the current month will need to be accounted for. So let me explain why I got that minus 100 points. Imagine that the next time we move into, like, the next month in game would be May. So we're sitting in April. And this one here was actually at month 1. Now, the problem is when we move into May, month 1 goes, because it's a 6-month rolling thing, and then everything shifts up 1, and we get a new one in month 1 that'll be just 0. Yeah, so basically like 49,000 was in month 1, so it was month 1 of the last 6 months, if that makes sense. I'm hoping I'm explaining this well. So yeah, it just rolls. So what you need to make sure is in the month before you're going to be evaluated, make sure you're higher than you're expected, which for me is 14,500. and it's in month 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 because you know next month's going to roll across, and you obviously can't get the evaluation until you're in the month to see it, if that makes sense. So now that it's there, it's a lot more clearer. We know that it doesn't matter. I'll give you a proper example of what's going to happen. This is in my save game. So we're in March. In April, that'll be in month 3. And then in May, when I get the thing, it'll be in month 2. So technically, I don't have to do any spreading at all. But we are going to because, we need to. The stocks are going up. For starters, one of them means you can't ever get maximum story store. If your story maxes out, you'll get a fine for it. So we need to always keep on top of it anyway for that reason. But I know I'm going to be fine because the worst case scenario is it's going to be at month 2. Not what month 1. If it went to further month, like if I was getting evaluated in June, then I'd have to spread again, or else I'd get the fine again, if that makes sense. So I'm glad that's been cleared up. I also want to point out this is now version 1 of the mod, officially version 1 of the mod. Arrow has sent it to Giants, so it's in the hands of Giants now, and it could drop at any point. I'm hoping it drops before Christmas, which is what his plan was. I also had the news that Maze Plus was coming out in 2025 and hoped that that would be around the same time. However, it has been moved into 2026, unfortunately. So, yeah, fingers crossed that can come out soon enough into 2026. We'll just have to be patient and wait for that, which is, not a problem at all. I think there's plenty of other mods for us to take a fancy to. Arrow's smashing out, let's be honest, the mods, and he's done a lot more than what Maze Plus puts into the game anyway, so I think we're very lucky to have Arrow working as hard as he is. But everything else pretty much is smooth sailing. We've done really well. You can now see that I've got all these different numbers, so like this is more forgiving. Beef shed's now at 9. Sheep pastures are at 4, so basically 9, 4. Chickens are like 0.75, and I'd have to look at everything else, but I'm pretty certain. Yeah, horses is high, though. Horses is still quite high because they need a lot of space. But yeah, cows are now to 9 instead of 12, so they have come down somewhat. So it basically means that, a calf shed, for example, at 32.5, we've got plenty of room in. Now, for some reason, I've still got the beef shed there, which is basically the same shed. You can see they're all the same values. But for some reason, when I changed name, it's kept it in. So I don't know if that's always going to be there or if it just takes another month to refresh it out, because then it should notice that there's no longer a shed called Beef Shed. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think so anyway. We'll just have to keep an eye on that, and if not, we'll tell we'll tell Oz about that, because I keep getting Oz and Arrow's name mixed up in videos, which is mental. It is. It's normally when, like, I normally talk about the Red Tape mod when I've been talking to Arrow, which I have done again today. So I keep getting the names mixed up, but Oz makes the Red Tape mod, Arrow makes Realistic Livestock mod, Herding mod, and things like that. I mean, they're both amazing people, by the way. Really sound as well to chat with. Yeah. But yeah, that is pretty much that. Everything else has been running smoothly. You can see that it noticed that we planted them trees, but we've had no other issues at all. Slurry management, like I said, that's the one that's full. We've had some new schemes pop up, and I missed one of them to show you, but it was to do with having some fields go fallow. So keep an eye out for that, because it will pay you money to keep a certain acreage fallow. So I think for me, it was like I needed 7.5 acres if I agreed to it, but I don't want to do that because I've kind of got all my fields planned out, so I didn't accept that scheme. But we've got a lot of road snow clearing schemes. Oz watched my video and saw that I went like 30 miles an hour, so he's now changed it. So we have to go 30 miles an hour now when you're spreading salt for the council, which it fully makes sense because it was giving me a £20,000 reward. I think it was detecting that I was going so fast, going so far. And yeah, I think you just make it a bit more realistic, because it's the mod that I got, which was this one. This one was the thing that allowed me to go that fast. So it basically says that if you do go above 30 miles an hour, then you're not going to get, it's not going to be detected that you're doing the snow, the salt spreading. So if you do accept one, keep in mind, you've got to go 30 miles an hour or less. Yeah. But we got a lot of them. There's actually been loads of them popping up. I'm not sure why I'm getting so many. I originally thought it was because like different levels to the tiers. And I know some of them are different equipment, but it keeps falling to this one as default for me. I get the majority of them, not all of them, but I'd say a good 80% of all the snow clearing ones are this this mod that pops up for me. But carrying on through the new ones to show you, I've got this one called Avoid Mowing During Spring, which wouldn't be too bad, and I'd be interesting to do it. But basically, no, you can't mow any grass between March and June to protect the wildlife. And in July, you'll be compensated for any uncut grass. So if you're all right missing that first cut and you've got a load of feed, it could be a good one. But for me, who desperately needs some hay, I'm not going to sign up to this one. But I like the fact that I've got these options. Again, tip my hat to Oz for this. Insane. You know, it's crazy when you work with someone to make a mod like this and throwing out ideas. And then because it was months ago, I was talking to Oz about these kind of schemes and sent him some info, talking to the farmer that I work with to provide him even more information. And it's now a thing that I'm playing in game, and it's better than I even could have imagined. And I've got a massive respect and admiration for Oz for doing this and actually following through with something that's insanely good and something that to me is now a must-have mod every time I play FS25, because it just changes the game completely. It gives you more incentive to think about things. You know, what it's done is mean that I don't need to just boot up the game and just jump into a tractor anymore and just do some ploughing or do some mowing. I'm actually managing a farm here, and that's the difference. So yeah, I'm just grateful that it's reality, and soon, hopefully, being on Mod Hub and everyone else can play it, and hopefully you agree that it's worth downloading if you want to play a bit more realistic. So I've had another crop promotion one as well. Now a few of these pop up, and I like them again because it gives you more of a reason to go and do a crop that you wouldn't normally do. And I've done that. I've fallen for that so many times in FS where I don't want to do spinach or green beans. I don't think I've actually genuinely done that except when the game first come out. I've not actually gone, you know, I've not been as a player gone, I want to go and grow some green beans, because it's just like I stick to the main crops, the normal crops, the kind of British style crops, because it's my play style. But I like this because it gives you a reason to go and do some parsnips, because maybe there is shortage and they need some, and they're going to give you incentive. They'll let you have this equipment if you grow the actual parsnip, and then on top of that, you'll get a financial bonus for each field where you plant the crop. So you'll get the crop yield and the price of that. You'll get the equipment to use. You don't have to fork out hundreds of thousands of pounds to do it. And at the same time, you'll get an incentive. So it gives me another reason to go through the struggle of maybe doing parsnips, which, to be honest, with that equipment there, it won't be too bad, would it? We've also got a winter cover crop scheme as well. So if you want to put some cover crops in over the winter months to reduce soil erosion and nutrient leaching, you receive a bonus for each field, which isn't a bad idea at all. I mean, we could sign up to that. You know what? I am going to sign up to that, because I think if we do it in the winter months after we've planted and gone through all these, you know, after we've planted our oats and our corn to do silage in, you know, I'm happy to go and put some winter crop in all them fields. Happily. So that just brings me to the ones that are active, all the same, apart from the one we just added in. Oh, right, finally, there we go. We are up to date. Let's go spread some muck, man, because we've got plenty to do, and everything else that we need to do, like planting in, we can do in the next episode. I've got, well, just trying to think, what have I got now? I've got oats that I can plant in this month in March, and then in April we can plant in the corn with the planter that I actually got ages ago. Yeah, look at that, 7,600. That's all it says we've got. And it now looks empty, which is what it should be, apart from that little bit. But if I go over here, it's saying that I've got 23,000 litres still. So I think what I might do is I might go into the XML of the save game for that shed on the it's a Placeables XML. If you ever want to edit stuff like that in the numbers and sheds, go to your save game, check out the Placeable XML, and you can take out like that kind of value, just put it to 0. So I think I might do that, because I'm hoping if it resets it, yeah, it might not be an issue. I don't know. I didn't actually show you this, which is something I do want to do. So let's quickly just do that, which is I got a dairy, and we've got a little tanker that I bought, very old one, that I actually really like the look of, because it's got like paint that's flicking off and buckets everywhere. I mean, it wouldn't be a good thing to go and sell milk in, because it just doesn't look like very hygienic. But, you know, we clean it out. We use caustic and everything inside the tank, and it's really clean inside. It's just on the outside it's not. And what we're going to do is just use it to transfer milk from there into our production, because I want to bottle our own milk. I think that's the best way to go because we can increase the numbers and also the value of it. So, yeah, we'll sell our own bottled Highland milk, even though we're not using Highland cows, but you know what I mean. And then what I'd like to do as well, and I think I've seen a mod on ModHub that can do this, is milkshakes. Because it'd be cool if we could flavour our milkshakes, maybe with strawberries to make strawberry milkshake, chocolate to make chocolate milkshake. I mean, that'd do for me. You didn't need anything else really on top of it, but that would be the perfect thing. And now that we're producing like 1,000 litres a day, you know, it keeps us going. It keeps the production going, and we're only going to get more if we keep expanding out. The female calves for the Holsteins that are in there and growing, as soon as they get to a good age, we'll stick them in with these and hopefully get them milking eventually. The males, you know, we're going to sell at some point to market. I would like a mod where we can actually convert, you know, beef stock into pallets of maybe stock of beef and stuff like it. And I know there is mods like that for 22 because I'm using one on the farm I'm currently. So, yeah. It'd be nice if we get one of them. If anyone's seen a mod like that, let me know. There is definitely a trigger on this. Right, so you join me after a bit of wizardry. I've sold the other tanker. I've brought this one. It's a more modern one, which I actually prefer the look of the other one, so it's a shame. Now, it's hooked on. I've put the hose in. I've checked all that stuff. I've put 5,200 litres in through EasyDev mod. And there we go. It works. So it must have been the trigger on that trailer, which is a little bit disappointing because I really like the look of that trigger. But I wasn't going to let that slide because we need to get the productions going for this. We want to bottle our milk and then, yeah, we can start shifting it at some point to a sell point on the map. And I might at some point sell this tractor, you know, because this tractor is supposed to be my farm yard shunt tractor. So it kind of like does the straw blowing, drives around. It's just slow. It's just really slow in the response for me driving around. So I probably want something that's just a little bit more. Yeah, I just want something that's a little bit more responsive. So at some point we will try and swap it out. It doesn't have to be a modern tractor. I don't mind still having an old one. Right, so this is the setup. Now we can do some extra stuff in this, which makes me think at some point I want some goats. Because I can do aged goat's cheese. I don't know if I've got a sell point in the map, but I can always place something down to go and sell it and just put it at a distance away so we have to drive still. We got this, which is Gorgonzola. Never had it. And we got mozzarella, proper mozzarella there. And we got mozzarella, and then ricotta. Ricotta, I think it is. I mean, I don't know. But we can make all that extra stuff, and I think a lot of it comes from goat milk and stuff, maybe a bit of buffalo milk. So I was thinking we should do some goat milk, because it'd be interesting to get some goats, and maybe a perfect spot for the goats would be in the Woodlands area that I own, where I made all the, what they called, holiday homes. I made the holiday homes, so that could be an option. But anyway, let's make our bottled milk. We've got the ingredients for this. We can do, it doubles, which is, what I like about it is we double it. So 10 milk to 20 bottled milk. So we're doubling the numbers. So 5,200, now it's going to be 10,400, which is going to be 10 pallets of bottled milk. And we can do 2,496 cycles a month. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. But we'll just leave that producing now. And yeah, hopefully soon we'll get some bottled milk. I'm just seeing if it's got any actual animations. I don't think it has. But I don't mind that. We're producing. That's the main thing. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But finally, let's go do a bit of muck spread. And I know, I apologise. This episode has been a lot of talking. But I've had a few comments recently of people saying, you know, you're in the menus too much. But that's the way I play the game. Yeah, that's the way I play the game. If it's unfortunately not for you, then, you know, it's not for you. That's all I can say to that. Now, I've got 3 spots here, when you think about it, that it says I've got manure. But all 3 of them are a bit messed up at the moment. Like the one up at the other shed was definitely messed up, because it says we've got more than we've actually got. This one is spawned in here, which I'm happy to pick up and and scoop up, and I think I have to, but I was just checking if there was a trigger for it. So let's go get... Yeah, let's go get the... Where's the best place to park this? Because I want to get past that way. Tell you what. We can do this properly. Let's just park it out the way over here. Still at a decent angle to load into, and then we can open up from... Yeah, we can get either side, can't we? So let's leave that there. Put the beacons on so people know we're loading into it. We'll keep that open for now. I'm just trying to see if there's any more triggers, because I know the slurry one's on that side, and there might be a muck trigger somewhere, and if there is, then... Yeah, there isn't, so we know about that. But yeah, these sheds are strange, aren't they? It says we've got more than we actually have. So I'm not, basically, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I've been riding hard toward the borderline. I am a wanted man. From San Antonio across the Eagle Pass, down to the Rio Grande. Old Black River, you stand in front of me on a moonlit night. If I don't get across, they'll hang me up high. I may be guilty, but I'm not ready to die.
Days now I've been running for my life, passing right on my tail. Just this morning ran my horse into the ground, back there along the trail. And it was nightfall when I fell upon the bank, along the riverside. No Black River so deep and so wide, and I know
pretty happy with that. It's not bad at all, is it? You can see which ones I've actually done with slurry. Like, majority have been done with slurry. It goes further, but it leaves a more kind of like erratic layer of nitrogen, just because it's not homogenized. And you can get that technology, can't you? But costs a fortune, and you have to have like a real expensive muck spreader, a tanker, and then have that kind of feature on top, which again costs a lot of cash. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to put more muck down than probably slurry, just because it seems easier as well, even though the slurry goes further. But struggles in the tractor, like I had to swap out and get this the big New Holland out, which is like what, 290 I think it is. What is she? Yeah, 281 horsepower, and it's still struggled in sections. Now, before I end the video, I actually got a comment in my Discord. Someone asked a question basically saying, since the latest update, are you getting mud on the tyres? And I noticed that I've been in this field the whole time and not seen any mud on the tyres, but I have on the tanker, so I don't quite know what's going on. Let's just see. If we go to here, dirt. I think if we just set the dirt to 100, yeah, we get it then. But it's not adding as we're driving through. So maybe that's just a little bug since the update that needs sorting out. But God knows. Anyway, we did it. We finished it off. Now I'm just going to go park everything up. Next episode, probably going to be a shorter one in comparison, because I'm not going to pass too much time, so I won't need to go through any updates on the animals and the red tape and all that good stuff. Yeah, we're just going to get some planting done. We're going to do some oats, and we need to plant some corn as well. So I could skip into April and do it all in that month. Will probably delay me though. Thinking about it, won't it? If I go into oats here, I'll probably harvest in August, and corn it will be October. So it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I think next episode then we'll go into April, and I will plant in the corn and the oats in that episode all in one. And we've got 3 fields to do it in. This one's going to be oats. I'm going to put corn in 23, and then 22 is also going to be oats as well. So yeah, I think that should be spot on. And then as soon as, well, in fact, we could start chopping and making hay then in April, because, you know, technically we'll have the grass ready, and we definitely need some hay. So maybe we don't buy some. Maybe we just make some hay in the episode after that one, which will tie us over then for feed. And we'll have all the crop in with already a bit of a boost to the nitrogen. So we shouldn't have to spend much more on, let's say the artificial fertilizer, the liquid fertilizer, which we'll have to put on these fields. And I also need to set up tram lines. So remind me to do that before we plant. Definitely need to do tram lines for this. So yeah, we'll get that set up in the next episode before we plant in. And then we're only going to have 2 fields to put muck down. And muck is a bit of a strange one. I literally can't get any more manure from anywhere. But this one's telling me I've got 11,000. This one's telling me I've got 8, which probably does make sense. And then this one's telling me I've got 23,000. So I should have a lot of muck somewhere, but I don't know where it is because I can't gain access to it. So I'm going to have to rethink that. I think I'm going to do that just before I start recording the next one. See if I can place down something somewhere that's going to draw in from them 2 cow sheds over there, because they're close together. And then let's just hope that the dairy one works if I reset it back to 0. So I'll get that all sorted before the start of the next episode, and then we will get into April. I'll start planting away, and hopefully then, yeah, the issue with the muck will be in the past, and we can carry on. But I'm really enjoying this series so far. Really enjoying it. I like the red tape mod. I like the fact that it's given me kind of an incentive to work towards, you know, expanding on like my level in the policies, and hopefully get a bit of just clipping through as you do. Yep. Yeah, it's given me a bit of an incentive into it to progress, and almost like, you know, when you play like a game that's like role play, or let's say like The Witcher, for example, or Skyrim, or a game like that, and you've got your levels and you keep upgrading. We don't get that in simulation games. Some you do, some like, you know, simulation games you probably do, but we don't get it in farm sims. So it's nice to have that because, you know, it's not an easy thing. You can see how many episodes I've done now, how long I've been playing it. I'd probably be a little bit higher without that penalty, which was my fault. Obviously didn't understand it. I'm glad I didn't understand it because it meant that now it's a bit more, you know, there's more information for people to not fall into the same trap I did. So, yeah, I'm glad. But I just like this idea. This, you know, we're at C. We want to get up to A, do the best, because if we do the best, we're going to get the biggest rewards. And I think the one thing I've probably struggled with playing on normal difficulty on FS25 is because I try and play realistic. I never fly up with cash, do I? I never like end up with millions and stuff like that. So hopefully, you know, this might give me a way of doing a different, you know, a different way of playing the game, but still being realistic. Like the fact that I could do parsnips because there's an incentive to do it and make more money elsewhere in different routes. And hopefully, you know, combining mods like the realistic livestock mod, you know, with this and doing the milking properly. And yes, it's probably going to be less rewarding because we've got to make sure, you know, our herd's milking and pregnant and there's lactating periods and all that stuff, and probably more realistic numbers for milk and stuff as well. So yeah, it's more difficult to make money, but it's realistic farming at the end of the day. And farming isn't a way of making millions of pounds. It's a way of getting by. It's a lifestyle for most farmers, and they just get by, and that's about it. So I'd rather play like that. And then when you do buy that new tractor and you've worked for ages to get it, I guess it means more. You know, the bigger the grind, the bigger the reward. That's how I see it. But thank you so much for watching. You know, to everyone that's enjoying this series as much as I'm enjoying playing it, a big shout out to you guys that have stuck with it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up for me. It really does help me out on YouTube. And if you're new as well, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator. See you, everybody.